Okay, I'm going to call the meeting to order at 7:07. And I see that 3 of us are here, and Anne Marie said she couldn't be coming. So I didn't get a chance to read what she said, though. Like I say, I saw that email and then it disappeared before I had a chance to read it.
I think the whole text of it was just simply that she was off island and would not be joining us. I don't think
So
there
she's
was,
off island.
yeah, I don't think there was anything else attached.
Okay. Did you guys get to see the minutes of the previous meeting?
I did. They look fine. Thank you.
I move we approve them.
Okay.
I second that.
All agree? Say aye.
Aye.
Okay. And then let's see. So the next item that I have on the agenda is looking at the findings for the lowering the signature gathering, since we all had a chance to chime in on that one.
I have a question. Did what I send come through? Did you guys? I edited it in somewhere that I'm like, where am I? And so anyway, but it did work. Okay.
It did go through, and I took that when I did mine because you had suggested moving things around and stuff.
Okay.
On yours, you said, let's put this higher and let's do that. And so I when I did mine, I didn't include a lot of stuff because I didn't think it was necessary, but I did change the order of things. So I don't know. At this point, I've got mine out there and hoping that maybe you can discuss that in some way.
Patty, did you build on Liz's? Did you take
Yeah,
Liz to edit?
Liz's was building on yours, but what she did was suggest different things on yours.
Okay.
And I hope that I kind of followed the suggestions. I don't know. Maybe I didn't. And Liz can let us know. Because I gotta move things around and
So Dave, do you have a starting point for this conversation, or how do we want to do this?
No, I
like that. No.
I just printed out Patty's. I'm wondering if I should print out yours so we can compare, or I'm happy to just work off Patty's.
Yeah, I have both of them open on my screen, but it's a little hard to have you all in both documents, but I do. So I have Patty's on the top where I can see it.
Yeah, and I'll bring yours up too. I'm putting our little Zoom meeting over here on the left, as far as I'm concerned, because we don't need to take up too much room on my space. And we all have desktop computers, right? Because I know trying to do this on a phone is incredibly difficult.
I have a little Surface laptop, but I don't.
Let me bring Liz's up here. I've got it down below. There's Liz's. Okay.
So one of the questions that I have, that we can choose to totally disregard this question if it's not, if it derails too much or isn't helpful, but I just wonder, given the amount of lift that the climate and the position for CEO, is that what it is? A climate environment office? Yeah, CEO. So how committed are we to bringing this out as a recommendation?
That doesn't have anything to do with this that we're talking about right now. I mean, we're talking about the lowering the signature requirement.
Yeah. Some people feel we need to limit the number of issues, that there's going to be a little attention bandwidth issues with voters. I don't think so.
I did this little thingy that they wanted, which was an Excel spreadsheet. Let's see, where is it? Our issues. And let me screenshot this just so you just see it for a second. let's see if I can figure out how to do that. Share screen. Okay, and what am I looking at? I think this is it. Okay, so share this. You see this sort of thing here. We have 4 issues. But I don't think, is it coming out?
I don't see.
There should, it says I'm screen sharing.
Okay, there it is. Yeah.
And it's what it's an Excel spreadsheet. And the first issue is about the signature requirement. The second issue is the financial limitation clause. The third issue is to ban paid signature gathering. And the last issue is possible electronic signatures. And those were our issues, I thought. And it looks to me like the last 2 really can't be brought forward in that with further further research. The banning of paid signature gathering has actually been decided by the Supreme Court that you can't do that. There have been, for a while, when I was looking at it, there was in 1914, Washington banned paid signature gathering, and that held till 1988. And then the Supreme Court said, oh no, you can. And ever since then, we haven't been able to ban it. So if the state can't ban it, I don't see how we can. Even though we would like to.
I was wondering if it could require a business license for anybody who's collecting signatures.
What do you say more about that, Dave?
Well, if you're going to collect signatures in San Juan County, you need to have a business license on file with the elections office. It would be say that. And so that would require, it'd be a lot of hassle for someone to collect, to go get a business license and pay that fee in order just to collect signatures. It would be very prohibitive.
So that would be, so if you were a paid signature gatherer, you would be contracting, I guess, with whatever group was doing the initiative. So you would be a contractor in their mind if you were a paid sig. So then you would have to be. Do people who are contractors have to have business licenses?
I believe so. I think that's at a certain level of revenue. It's like more than 1,500 a year. I'm not sure. I mean, what the actual line is, but if they make more than 1,500 a year, I think, then they do, or have to at least report. I mean, this actually is probably something not so much worthy of a charter, but more of a policy. If somebody who's on the county council and really wanted to ban it, they could create a policy of it. I mean, it's kind of nitpicky and petty to require a business license to really.
Well, you're getting at the possible way that paid signature gatherers could be banned in a practical way.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's, I like your thinking. You think out of the box here. Okay, so.
I think this would be popular with voters, no matter what we do to
Yeah.
ban it. It'll be popular with voters.
It's just that in looking at it, it's like, okay, well, this won't fly because the Supreme Court already said no. But if you want to do it in another ordinance way by saying, okay, all signature gatherers who are paid by the hour or by the signature will need to have a business license.
So Dave, how would we propose that then if it's not necessarily, if it's something that the county council would do versus the charter?
I just realized it would be really more petty. It would be probably more appropriate for ordinance than charter language. I mean, it's just, but I mean, banning signature gathering, if we could have done it, it would. That's something that I think that it's solid. It's kind of principled enough that it does kind of rise to the place of what kind of a initiative system we want here, and then it would fit into the charter. But kind of a underhanded, oh, you have to have a business license to do that type thing. That's more of a, it seems like that's more of an ordinance thing. It's probably not appropriate for us, but I don't know.
Yeah, well, that's how a lot of things get accomplished, you know, by making the requirements horrendous. I was researching that. I found a thing in California where a couple of days ago, they're in the process of passing a law to ban paid signature gathering,
Wow.
which would, you know, be something. And I was interested in the article saying some of the things that people found negative about that. The guy that was proposing that had been recalled. And so he wanted the same kind of thing, you know, to ban anybody on a petition to recall.
Right.
So, you know, that covers the whole thing. And so there were, in that article, there were people saying, oh my goodness, there's a lot of good things about, oh, I guess I lost it. But I was surprised to see some of the people saying that they thought that having paid signature gatherers got more involvement, at least in California. It got people, they were saying something like, okay, you're standing in front of the supermarket and people come in, and because you're being paid, you have an incentive to stop them. And so you stop them and you say, hey, if you look at petition number such and so on your phone when you're in there shopping, then you can see what we're trying. And then when you come back out, sign the petition, and then they get their signature. That was an interesting thought. I don't have a smartphone, so I don't do things like that. But I just, you know, it surprised me how things are changing. Yeah. So do we want to still pursue the possibility of having some sort of ban on paid signature gathering? I don't know. I have another comment I wanted to say after reading all of the things that Camelin sent us. I don't know that you had a chance to, but it was quite interesting. The example petition that she had was about immigration, you know, and how people got up in arms about not giving any information to ICE about any of our people here who might not be citizens, or, you know, they might be illegals, but you don't have that right to ask them about it. And so that petition was full of all of this information, and it ended up not even going to the voters. It just ended up being an ordinance that the council passed. So a lot of these initiatives end up not even going to the voters because they go to the council first. And then if the council doesn't want it, then it goes to the voters. And that particular one was passed. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah. I'm not sure I like that. I thought, I was hoping that would go to the voters, that the voters would have some say in that. And I'm not sure how I feel about the council canceling.
I think the county council figured, okay, the voters are going to like this, and we're accountable to the voters, and why wait? Let's do it now.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I think there was also a tremendous sense of urgency at that time.
Oh yeah.
You know, real life threats to, you know, people's well-being and
being reported. Yeah.
Families, and so
yeah.
So Davis, I understand that one of the strongest reasons to ban paid signatures has to do with moneyed folks just simply, you know,
buying an election.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Is that it? So I mean that seems like something that's
how we felt. Yeah.
It's yeah, it's commonplace though. There's only been, I think, one or two either referendums or initiatives that have gotten on the ballot without paid signature gatherers. One of them was I think
here in this county.
Now, what ballot are you talking about?
Yeah.
statewide.
Yeah,
Statewide.
no, but countywide, we've had some initiatives and I don't think we've had paid signature
Uh-uh.
gatherers.
Right, right.
Yeah. And so paid,
That was
paid,
one of the,
to this point, paid signature gather has not been an issue in this county per se, but since we're looking out and we're watching our, changes in our demographics and a wealthier client, community moving in. Oops.
I took it away. 'Cause I didn't think you needed it. Or maybe
So-
you do, I don't know, but it, I
No,
know
that's-
how that is upsetting on the screen.
So part of it is looking forward and being proactive to prevent something that might come into the mix here in our county that we don't want to have happen.
Yeah.
So thinking that through out loud, it seems to me that it's worth this committee hanging on to that and putting it out to the full committee.
Makes sense.
Okay, okay. Let's see. Okay, well, I'll change that when I can figure out how. I just figured that we couldn't bring it forward, but
But I think
let's-
the value of bringing it out to the full commission is just to have that conversation at large of, well, okay, so we can't do it, but oh my gosh, county council could in fact write this other workaround kind of thing and have,
It could be
Okay.
recommendation.
yeah.
Okay, so I guess I'll share this again and just, oh God. Okay. Sorry, guys,
So now we're back to our Patty's draft here.
yeah, so this is, I'm just gonna say, okay, the bring to the full commission and how about an ordinance for requiring business license, something like that. And then we can say this over here just as background, but they might wanna carry forward, who knows?
Hmm.
And the possible electronic signatures, at this point, I don't think we'll bring it forward. One of the things was that one of the requirements for initiatives at the state level is that they be on paper. And I know that Cameron even stated that, and I found it somewhere else and it sort of said, yeah, it's required that it be on a good paper.
From my perspective, we've talked about and reconsidered and rehashed, and we've come to electronic signatures is not, we're done with that conversation.
Yeah,
Is that
good.
where everybody else is? Understanding?
How do you
Okay.
feel about that?
Okay.
Yeah.
And
Okay,
Patty,
good.
I can't read the notes section over there. Does that have a reference? It's just because it's little, but does that have a reference to California voting to?
No, for the,
I just
On-
thought that might be a nice reference point in the notes. in
on,
terms-
are we talking about the paid signature gathering?
Yes,
Okay,
But-
I'll include that. I didn't
Yeah.
have it there. No.
yeah, I just think that's an important reference point. And
Okay.
still, if the full commission blows it out, at least we will have had the conversation and the recommendation as a possibility.
Okay, so I will add it. All right. I'm gonna take this, you guys don't need this thing, right? I mean, I'm gonna take it away again, so it's not in your way.
Okay, thank you.
There we go. And now, it's just weird when you share the screen, it doesn't look anything like what you guys have, which is
Yeah. Right.
all over.
Yeah.
I'm
Um,
sorry. Do you have that? I'm sorry. I wanted to look at, I started to read the notes after financial statements. Maybe we can look at that later, not right now, but
Yeah, I didn't put much in there. All I had said was what the state requires. Yeah, let me get it
Okay.
back here.
and it's just a
I'll read
statement.
it. The statement was Washington State requires that the fiscal impact statement be prepared by a state official or government agency, which predicts how the approval of a ballot measure would affect state finances. That's a requirement right now that, you know, we need to know what the effect is.
Mhm,
But at the state level, they don't require that we have to figure out where we're getting the money.
mhm.
And the county requires that an initiative proposal shall not require the expenditure of additional funds for an existing activity or any funds for a new activity or purpose unless provisions are specifically made therein for new or additional sources of revenue that may thereby be required.
Mm.
So those are the differences.
It-
And what we had,
What,
you know,
what are you looking for there, Dave?
Not to jump around off all our issues one to the other, but I would like to explore that, what the state's standard is, and see if we can adopt that here. I think that might be a better tack than just striking all financial requirements all outright. Saying that we do want voters to be informed with a fiscal impact statement. That's another conversation for another day, probably.
sure. Okay, so I'll put that one out. And oh, while I've got you, sort of, did you go? Oh, shoot.
Patty, did you capture that statement of Dave's just then for an agenda
Yeah.
item?
The
Okay,
idea of it, yeah.
Basically, I need to put what was in the right-hand side over kind of in the middle as a proposal to the commission that we do like the state does,
Yeah.
rather than, you know, I'll just rewrite that and run it by you guys.
Yeah.
If that's okay.
okay, yeah.
I wanted to point out, I don't know whether you had a chance to see what Camelin sent about the initiatives. She had a list of initiatives from 2007 to 2019 and what was passed and what was rejected and what was by petition and what I thought it was quite interesting. Did you get a chance to look at that?
No, I didn't get that. Did you,
You know,
Liz?
when I sent that forwarded Camelin stuff to you, which was, I think, yesterday, so you haven't had much chance. There were 3 Excel documents and 2 other ones, and one of them was, I think it was a PDF of an initiative, which was the one I was talking about, the immigration one. And then I had to download into my computer. I finally figured out how to do that. And so I got the Excel documents out there where I could read them. And they were costs of elections, 2 separate elections she had and how they were costed out among the people who were part of it. And then that 3rd document was initiatives and referendums since 2007. And there's only, there's like 15 of them there. But the first one was the stormwater utility service charge, which was there by petition but rejected by the voters.
So Dave, excuse me, Patty.
Oh, wait a minute. No, it was a referendum. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if
Dave-
you guys can find it, can you look at it, find it?
excuse me,
Yeah. I'm not used to looking. It says download all. I just saw the 2 there and it says download all. And I'm not used to looking at.
I just discovered this tiny little print. So I would see one attachment not realizing, so there are 5 attachments here.
That's
Exactly.
this email system. You got to click on the stupid thing and then you'll see all these other attachments. But otherwise,
Yeah.
I didn't know there were.
Yeah,
So Dave, that has your example petition in it.
good. Yeah.
Yeah, and all of this. So Patty, no, I'm with Dave. I had only seen the one
And then you
And-
did, yeah.
and wondered, well, wait a minute. So
Yeah.
Getting to know this email system is, I really don't like it, but anyway.
but at least we're getting better at it.
If you want to download, I think it's the 3rd document in Excel. It says initiatives and referendums since 2007. And if you get a chance to download that into your computer and then click on it.
What I'm wondering is in terms of forwarding this meeting, what's
Do you guys even want to look at that? Or, I mean, it was just a good example because she listed the referendums that had been done and whether they were rejected or passed, and the same thing with new propositions, whether they were approved or not. And it was just very interesting.
I'm looking at it right now, I'm assuming Dave is as well. So
Yeah, I am. I'm just trying to
Yeah.
totally figure out what
I'll give you a moment.
it'd be good to look at understand more what's approved and passed and presented by petition. Like, have any of them gone all the way through? Like signature?
Yeah, every time it says approved, that means they've been voted on and approved.
Well, that could mean that the council just moved it through. We don't
Well,
know.
that is, okay, if it says presented results passed, okay, passed. And then the levy approved, which would mean passed because it's a levy. And same with yes for extension of the conservation area real estate tax, the REIT, that yes.
But Patty, how
No.
do we know if that's, oh, there it says passed by. And Dave, you see that on number 8? That says county council.
It says
Yeah.
presented by, is not passed by, but it presented by. So these are, when it says petition, that means it was either a referendum or an initiative. And if it says county council, that means they put it there. If it's a referendum, it was started by the county council and the people said, hey, let's see whether we like it or not. Or maybe the county council said, let's put it to the people and see whether they like it or not. But so that's where these are referendums. And then we had proposition number 1, number 2, number 3, and those were the last CRC review. And they were all approved by the voters.
And Patty, I
And
may
then-
be being just a little bit slow on this, but what is it that shows us whether it went for a vote or not? Do we
If it
know for certain, or do we
says-
need to ask?
If it says, okay. Passed by council is the only one that didn't go for a vote.
And which-
Number 16, 2017.
Oh, I
initiative
see. Okay, got it. So that down there distinctly says,
Passed by council.
so it's presented as a petition and it was simply passed by, the rest of them
Went to vote,
went to votes.
and either they passed or they didn't.
Okay, thank you. That now makes sense to me.
And then on the right, it just says who started amount, basically.
Got it. Which just seems backwards. If I was doing that spreadsheet, I would put it was
Yeah, I
presented
know.
by, and here's the result. But anyway, that's just
Yeah.
me needing the world to.
And I thought it was
revolve
kind
around
of
me.
an interesting way where she says yes on sometimes and approved on sometimes and rejected and no, which means the same thing. But it's okay. We
And
get
prop- Proposition number 1 is a levy that citizens petitioned to have.
no, that was a CRC. That was the last CRC. Proposition 1.
Proposition
Oh,
number 6.
up there, 2009 Proposition 1 levy. Okay, yeah, it was probably the REIT, maybe.
That
Yeah,
was a private.
no, it was a levy. I have to see what the levy was. I'm not sure, but it was something that was initiated by petition and it was approved. I don't know what it was because I don't have any more information than you do. Although the other thing she sent, which was interesting, was an example. Let me see if I can pull that up. Initiatives titles. And so that was 2009. Let me see if I can find that. No, there's a referendum. 2009 general was fireworks in Seattle. Fireworks in San Juan County. But that's not a levy. Yeah, she doesn't have an example of, oh, here's a levy, but I can't read it because only half of it's there.
Mhm. So there's been
But there is a proposition with levy in the words. It's the middle and I can only read half of it.
I wonder if we asked Google if it would tell us
Yeah.
what levy?
It was proposition number 1. Yeah, if you want to Google proposition number 1, San Juan County levy 2009.
And why are we looking that up?
Because we wondered
Oh,
what kind of a levy would be
Oh, okay.
initiative.
So we've had 3 initiatives where they've gone to, that have petitions that have gathered signatures and gone to the ballot, and 2 referendums where people have gotten enough signatures. Well, got enough signatures to have a referendum on
On
ordinance.
something the county did. Yeah.
Same kind of. So it's 5. There's been 5 signature gathering efforts, or maybe 6 if you count the one that the county council passed on. There's 5 or 6 that have actually happened since we've been at Home Rule County.
So I don't see where they are. Let's see. So, because I didn't count those we've got charter amendments and I don't see too many. Okay, that was a referendum. Okay, the levy is 1 petition, which we need to find out. And the extension of the REIT was another petition. I bet the first one, the levy, was the REIT, the original REIT, which was started by petition. I bet that's what it is.
and I'm wondering, is there a
And then
similar?
we voted to extend it in 2011, but I don't know whether you can. And then I noticed, these solid waste user charge, we voted no on that one, and that had come out from the council.
Is there any
The
sort
GMOs was one.
So
The GMO initiative was one, and the REITs were one. So what other initiatives? Oh yeah, then immigration, which would be the 4th.
Yeah. So
And I don't see any other petitions though. GMOs and the 2 REITs and the immigration. The other ones were like what we're doing right now, the CRC.
So yeah. So proposition number 1 levy.
That was the REIT.
I don't think so.
You don't?
No, it was a property tax increase. San Juan County proposed a property tax increase, was on the ballot November 3rd. This ballot will increase the regular property tax levy in the county by $12. Glasses.
It says
By 12 cents. Increased revenue will go towards public health, county sheriff, various senior services, county fairs, parks, and various other extension programs.
okay, so it wasn't the real estate one. It's just, and it's property tax, direct property tax.
I wonder, so Patty or Dave, do you have the ability to modify that document?
This?
I just wonder. I just wondered if you put a note in beyond that levy that said, 12-cent property tax, just to capture what we're looking up here.
Yeah, but that should not read petition. That should read county council. The proposition number 1 levy. It says the San Juan County Council adopted resolution number 28, 2009 concerning increase of property tax levy. This proposition would increase the levy by 12 cents. Total of and it
didn't go to the voters?
They put a referendum on it. Yeah. It went to the voters. It was passed by this county council, but it was a referendum, and so the voters had to vote on it.
Yeah, so that one should have been referendum, I guess.
That's what I'm saying. Can we mark this document?
I'm not going to make it accurate at this point, I guess. We can go back and do that, but I don't want to waste the time now.
Right.
I think it's a good point of discussion, though, to see that there haven't been that many, and this is how generally they worked, and only some have been rejected by the voters. But yeah,
I was wondering, is there a common theme between the three that were rejected?
well, one of them was it would cost too much money, I think, and they didn't want to pay for solid waste users. You know, the stormwater utility charge and the solid waste, those are both money, and they didn't pass. And the other one, the rejected one about the charter amendment, they were just changing the language from initiative to amendment. And that's one of these things here that let's see if I can find it. The county adopted, well, let's see. Oh yeah, the county council adopted an ordinance which proposes an amendment to the county charter. If adopted, the process for publicly initiated changes to the charter would be renamed from initiative petition to charter amendment petition. So that was referred, and it didn't pass. Well, actually, it wasn't referred. It says it's the CRC did it, and it didn't pass. They didn't want to rename it, but it's funny because the charter, the piece of paper here where she has the titles, it says the county council adopted ordinance. So unless, and then she's got it from the CRC, doesn't really look like it. Unless the CRC suggested to the county council and they adopted it, and then it was put forth to the voters. Or maybe that's how the CRC works. The county council puts it forth and it starts from the CRC. Maybe that is maybe that's our method, you know? Let's see if I can find it on the other ones. Proposition number 1, 2, and 3, back in 2012, San Juan County Charter Review Commission. No, those ones came from the Charter Review Commission and to the people. But maybe the Charter Review Commission, because it goes to the council first, the council adopted it and then put it out to the people for a vote. I don't know.
I think they have to.
Yeah, but so they didn't adopt these proposition 1, 2, and 3. That just went through the charter, through the council, and they said, okay, let's put it on the ballot. They didn't make an ordinance. Whereas this other one, they actually made the ordinance and then it went on the ballot, I guess. Because it says they made the ordinance and then it went on the ballot, and it was rejected. So anyway, when you guys get a chance to look at these things from Camelin, they're quite interesting. And I see we found a little bit of a discrepancy there. So she was putting together this Excel document, and it may be that she was in too much of a hurry when she did it for us, because I know she was working on the current election.
Well, it's funny, I could see one of you in there looking at a document.
That's weird.
Her glasses.
Oh,
He's doing you. That's
well, anyway, I do want to get back to this first thing that we were working on, because Dave did so well at starting us, and then we took it. I went to another place. I went to that the actual ordinance that states what an initiative and a referendum is, to add that in the findings. You know, San Juan County registered voter or group of voters may sponsor an initiative, etc. That's from the ordinance itself. That's how it currently is. But then the 15%, at 15%, as David said, San Juan County has the highest signature requirement of all counties in the state of Washington. And then it goes on to say what the others do. And then Washington State has a standard of 8%. California, Oregon, and Idaho only require 6. And then, you know, the other statement about how cool we are with our 90% of voters out there in an election. Oh, Dave, I saw that you had asked for increased regulations from the state limit the availability for signature gathering in the public square. I saw that you had asked about that. Did you get a reply?
No, that was just today. You're talking about the
Yeah.
initiative
Yeah.
referendum institute. Yeah, I was today, and I'll keep plugging away. They might have something, and I'm trying to think of who else I can talk to.
If we make that statement, we need to back it up. Otherwise, I think the suspicion and the online purchasing are good enough examples for why it's really hard to get signatures now. But if we actually do have this other thing, we should put it in there. I won't put it in there though if we can't back it up.
So it's since 2005. Is that right? We're looking for, there's bills I'm sure that have required stricter ways to, well, I mean, is it the same as the state level we're talking about?
No.
It has to be here.
No, actually, if the state level puts a restriction that would be more than what we got, then yes, that's something worth stating. But if the restriction doesn't have any effect on us, then no. And I don't think we have necessarily done anything.
Right.
Like unpaid signatures or anything like that, which might make it harder.
Because the state has required more stringent editing and bigger warning labels on their petitions. And I'm not sure how much the county has to follow the state. I might have to talk to Camlin about that. How much is the county required to follow the state's statutes about that?
Yeah, you can ask Callan, and she did give this one document that I downloaded and then expanded it because you really can't read it otherwise. Has a bunch of different titles, and you can tell from the titles sort of what the feeling is for the San Juan County requirements. You can get a feel for it, I think, if you want to look at that.
Mm-hmm.
Liz, did you have some comments that where you thought maybe I didn't include what you would want in there? I mean, I did not include stuff from the cities because I didn't think they were really.
Well, I just I don't know if this is a nitpicky level but if I just start up there with the
yeah, go ahead.
The findings, direct democracy through right of initiative. So mini initiative and referendum are capitalized, but the right of initiative. So because you have the initiative.
Where are we now?
I'm reading in the
right.
first.
I see. Well, yeah,
paragraph.
mini initiative and referendum, they're all capitalized, but they don't have to be.
So the initiative is one thing, a mini initiative is another thing, and a referendum is a third thing.
Yes.
Correct?
So initiative and mini initiative can be the same thing. It's just that you didn't get enough signatures, so it can be a mini initiative.
So the way with the capitalization through the right of initiative, I guess that is capitalized. That's really weird. No, it is. I'm sorry.
The right?
To the right of initiative, mini initiative, and referendum. So it's almost.
We can uncapitalize them. They don't have to be capitalized.
No, it's more like just finding a way to have it stand out better through the right of initiative. Because that to me, grammatically just sounded like right of initiative. And then you list that there's a mini initiative and a referendum. So it's
right
almost like
mini initiative and a referendum.
Right. So it's almost right of semicolon initiative, mini initiative, and referendum. I'm
sorry. Should it be right? Plural?
Say again,
well,
Dave. I didn't hear you, Dave.
rights.
Is it rights, through rights of initiative, mini initiative, and referendum?
Or is it process?
Well, let's see, we could do rights. The San Juan County Charter provides for direct democracy through
Through the process of initiative, mini initiative,
Through-
or
the process of initiative, mini initiative. And the process is singular, and those things are three, but I think those things are treated as a group. So it can be singular.
okay.
So that'd be okay. I hate seeing things
Or-
that are singular.
Or it
and
could be
plural.
through the processes. It could be plural.
Well, I
Direct
was
advice through
thinking
the
that
process.
processes, do we want to say processes and think of those things as separate? I think of it as, a group, which is singular.
I think of it as three different ways for the community to engage in direct democracy.
Yeah,
Direct
okay, we can
democracy.
say processes and keep them separate.
I mean, so through the process of initiative, mini initiative, or referendum.
So it would be processes of initiative, mini initiative, and referendum.
Right.
Does that
No,
weaken
di-
it? I
I'm-
worry that's where we're talking
Yeah.
about process and not a right.
I know, I
Actually,
think, I
change
really,
law.
of course, nowadays, people don't even match plural and singular all the time. And I've seen all kinds of typos and what have you. People aren't careful. But anyway, and we are right now. So how about through the process of initiative, mini initiative, and referendum? And those are capitalized. And so that can be considered as a group. And that's the way we are exercising our democracy. Our democratic-
Again, this may be irrelevant, but we're going to step into this explosive conversation about rights of nature, rights of
So we're not debating it's a right. So we aren't gonna
democracy.
get
So
confused
Dave
about
was
that.
just asking if not using the word right and using the word process weakens that speaking about direct democracy. Am I correct, Dave?
Yeah, it does process weaken it and is right much more a clear idea of what we're talking about.
I think that in the current conversation, right is going to be a very charged word. And maybe it'll say more than we want or less than we want just because it's being.
And what if we took it out
debated.
altogether? What if we took it all together and it just simply read, provides for direct democracy through initiative, mini initiative, and referendum?
Okay, through,
Provides for direct democracy through
right.
initiative, mini
Mini
initiative.
initiative and referendum, okay.
And Dave, does that,
Yeah, that's accurate.
Yeah.
I was trying to sell it as more of
Okay.
an inalienable right type thing, but that's fine.
I
That's,
know.
think-
well,
We're
I
having-
think where my brain has
Right.
shifted to is that I don't want to hear about rights anymore that aren't connected to responsibilities. So I can tell I'm having a reaction to saying you have the right to do this. We have so abused and misused our rights.
Dave hasn't been in on this other committee that you and I are.
But
on
he's living in the world that I'm living in. So anyway, that's my
Yeah.
personal
Yeah.
rant.
And that's why we kind of, right is getting to be overused, and maybe it isn't as strong as you think it is because of what it's going through right now. Okay, I took the San Juan County Charter provides for direct democracy through initiative, mini initiative, and referendum. And I took off, that second comma doesn't need to be there. A San Juan County registered voter or group of voters may sponsor an initiative proposal by filing with the county auditor or a proposal to enact a new ordinance or an amendment to an existing ordinance. A voter or a group of voters may sponsor a referendum proposal by filing with the county auditor a proposal to repeal any enacted ordinance or portion thereof. That's the law as we have it. But goes further, they require at 15%. I don't say that at 15%, I don't go further with that because your next statement says at 15% of voters in the last gubernatorial election, San Juan County has the highest signature requirement of all counties in the state of Washington. Maybe I should add a sentence in the thing before that saying that you need 15% of signatures in the last, you know, should we have a segue there or is that okay without?
A segue sounds good. It sounds like a hard transition. I mean, if this is the
I got
ballot
it.
statement we're putting, you know, and
Yeah. So maybe we should just say 15, you can't see what I'm writing, but
I'm wondering, we haven't talked about this yet, but I'm wondering what other counties are doing in terms of initiatives. How many, what percentage
we
is
have
Collin
that right
County?
there. You mean non-home rule charter counties? I mean, the home rule.
The home rule
We got
county.
it there. We got Clallam, Clark, King, and Pierce counties enjoy 10%. Whatcom County requires 8%, and Snoqualmie.
Dave, what were you referring to?
How many is Clallam County getting on the ballot?
Clallam is 10.
I don't think we're understanding your statement because we have those percentages.
Not percentages, not signatures. How many signatures do they require? But how many are they getting on the ballot? How many?
Oh, I
how
see
many-
what you're saying. Not signatures, but how many initiatives are actually making it to the
Well,
ballot.
that's some more research we could do.
Yeah, that's what I was just speculating. Would be
Yeah.
worth.
Okay. We could do more research. Let's just say that.
Because that's where a place where that could fit in. San Juan County has the lowest number of petitions getting to the ballot in all these counties. We could maybe say if that's true.
But that would also depend on, you know, how many are
Yeah.
initiated and how many don't make it.
It also depends on how active those people are in those counties, which they could be very active because they're home rule charter counties, but we don't know exactly. It requires a little bit of further research. I think that's a good thing.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go ahead and make that segue and then do the next thing and then do research about because we know we didn't have that many.
Right.
We only had like 4, in the last 12 years or something. So,
And
yeah.
Is there any relationship to the fact that there were only 4? Is there any relationship to the fact that we have a 15% requirement?
Well, that'll be, that'll show up with research. If they have a whole bunch of initiatives on the ballot, then maybe, but we can't say it's causal.
Right.
We can't say that there's a relationship, but we can make the statement that, oh, hey, they did 10, whereas we did 4 in the last 10 years, whatever.
Yeah,
But
I did reach out to friends who are active signature gatherers. It's just part of their lifestyle.
Mhm.
So they're involved in different initiatives and so one, they had no idea that we had the highest percentage. They were shocked at that. 2, they didn't think lowering it to the 7 or 8% might necessarily be the best idea, that 10%, so bringing it down from 15, but staying at the 10% would keep it in that category of we're doing the heavy lifting. So there's nothing frivolous in our intent, but it would take it out of, I said, so have you asked him a question along the lines of, so have you ever had the sense that the number of votes was insurmountable? And their answer was basically no, and it's irrelevant. You just get whatever it takes. So to them, the possibility of having to get less signatures was inviting, but not worth it to them if it in any way diminished the.
Did they successfully do any initiatives? Have
So-
they successfully gotten it? Or are they gathering state and signatures?
Their efforts is more on the state level, but they were part of the one for the immigration. So, but yeah,
Okay. Yeah, now the immigration one was probably pretty easy to get signatures because it was a hot issue and there was, you know, people were out and about.
right.
And now
But-
things have changed. And the state only has 8% of the population requirement. And so, and they're only one little corner of the state. And if they didn't get 8% of our population, they wouldn't know that. They
Right.
just send it off to the state. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, so who's going to do that bit of research to know whether we want to include?
I'll do some after the meeting. I don't know. Dave probably will. You guys might just independently. I don't know. I'm finding that when I take the time to do the stuff, it's awfully hard when the weather's so nice. And I'm stuck in here without windows. But you really learn an awful lot. Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
My little brain can't hold it all. It's sort of like I'm, you know, on this transition committee where we're getting together a poultry confederation, only they're calling it something different. But we're trying to, for Salmon Island, get fertilized eggs and have the Grange store. We're getting equipment for what do? You incubate and then you breed, or the brooders and all that kind of stuff. Anyway, I'm learning so much about chickens. I don't have chickens, but I'm sure learning about chickens. And I didn't realize that when you're trying to introduce new chickens to a current flock, that's really tough. Just never occurred to me. They don't want anybody new. You have to do it at night while they're all asleep.
oh, interesting, interesting. Well, that
When
we just need to sneak ordinances in the night when everybody's sleeping.
When
There.
everybody's sleeping and they
There.
don't happen.
Or when it's really sunny out and everybody's outdoor playing. So, I just asked if somebody specifically was going to do the research, because I know I won't have time between now and our next
I will.
meeting.
I will.
And so-
I'll do that specific research because I want to get this done.
Yeah.
To the counties, looking at other
Yeah,
counties.
look at the other counties and
Okay.
see if I can find out how many initiatives have been made it to the ballot in those counties, which means they at least they required signatures.
Okay. And then
Not
so
quite sure.
from there, that may help us build the transition statement that would go in front of this second paragraph here.
The transition statement really just needs to say, you know, at the end of what our thing is, that 15% of the voters in the last gubernatorial election are required, you know, as signatures for the thing. And then you go on and say, at 15%, we've got the highest. But you just needed to have that statement there. It doesn't have to be too wordy. It just has to transition.
Okay.
'Cause-
Yeah, so I'll find out from those other counties because maybe that's an important point. And maybe we do want to go to 10% rather than 8%, but you know, who knows? Washington is at 8. And if we're doing, you know, if people were out there gathering signatures for a state petition, all they had to do was get 8% of the total. And, you know, they might have gotten 6% of San Juan County, which wouldn't matter because they could get 10% of King County. That would be way more, you know, so it's a whole different thing when you're doing state petitions.
I have 2 points.
Yeah.
One is, I think that in terms of getting the information from the other counties, what the argument we're trying to make is, or what we're trying to explore is San Juan County's direct democracy underperforming? And that's what we suspect. It's underperforming, and because we have this high signature threshold.
Mm-hmm.
And that the percentages that we're working with, the 10 and 8, those aren't the real percentages that these petitions are gathering. Those are what's just required, because they say we're supposed to get 2% more, I think, to actually certify, because there's such a drop off. I think that should be mentioned in our findings.
Okay. Yeah. And then to note that we'll need more than that, because not all signatures are valid
Mhm.
on these things. Yeah. Okay.
So when when it's 15% currently, that's actually 17%. I mean, we could even like maybe even put like parentheses, the real number, 17%, 10%. Oh, that's actually 12%. Or Snohomish has 7%. That's actually 9% required. And just so it's
Something like that. Yeah.
no,
Okay.
just
All right.
a bad idea.
I'll fool with this a little more. We're already over time, guys.
Yes. I
Well,
have
we're-
just
Yes, Dave.
I just love this. You've done a great job. I have one little edit in the in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, fifth paragraph down. San Juan
Starts with-
County. Oh, wait a minute. Is this right? San Juan County is the smallest home rule charter. Is San Juan County, is the county capitalized?
It probably should be.
Yeah, because it's part of the name.
It
Okay.
should be. So I just capitalized it.
And you do
And
have
should
it.
we capitalize the others or just keep them as small? Home rule charter counties should just be small, right?
Yes, that should
Yeah.
be small, but I think San Juan County,
San Juan County needs to be capitalized. So I
and
just-
later in that paragraph, it's the same. But
Yeah, no,
Great.
that's definitely good editing.
this is exciting. Thank
Okay.
you.
Yeah, and if you hear back anything about, increased regulations, that needs to be added.
Yeah.
So we didn't get too far, but we sort of did. I think we did.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. I keep wanting to eliminate things and we aren't. So that's fine. We're going to propose
Well, I mean,
them so that everybody will see what we've been working on.
Yeah, we've developed everything, and we got we're fermenting our conversation. It's always a
Yeah,
great hour for me.
Me too. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. Get out there. The sun is not set yet. No, it is.
Yeah. It's spring training.
Okay. And we'll see you on Wednesday.
Great.
I'll see Liz sooner than that.
Yes, I'll see you tomorrow.
Great. Thanks, Patty.
Yes.
Thanks, Liz. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Bye,
Okay. How
all.
do I stop
Bye-bye.
this? How do I
Oh.
stop recording? There. Stop. Ah, okay.
Good job.